This is the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers. If you are joining us out on YouTube, be sure to like us, subscribe, and you don't have to like us. You just have to click the little thumbs up button, which is the equivalent of saying that you like us, but it's no long-term commitment. But one guy I am committed to long-term, my good buddy Adam Emmert.
Yeah. Forever and forever, man. Since kindergarten, bud, we can't get rid of one another, and so here we are. And yeah, like you said, you hit the like button. That doesn't mean you like us. It just maybe you like that episode. Like, you don't even have to go that far, right? Like, we wouldn't hold your feet to the fire that way.
It is kind of nice though to see that we are liked when you look at the YouTube stats, and you're like, oh, people actually do like this. Yeah,
for better or for worse. Somehow other people have the same sickness that we do. That's why we love talking Seahawks football with all you guys, and doing it with Brandon and Clinton and Wilson and Phil and everybody that's part of the Seahawkers Podcast Network. Just a ton of fun. And what's more fun than that, Brandon, is it's now football season. Training camp has started. You and Clinton did a little recap about day one the other day. That was awesome. We had 2 more days of training camp roll through, more pressers to go through. Now, neither one of us are going out to training camp. I mean, we're in Montana. That's a bit of a drive, so not doing that. But a lot you can glean from the pressers and what everybody's talking about and that sort of thing. So,
well, and you have part of the sickness too if you find yourself live streaming just the video feed from camp, because you don't get anything from it in terms of just watching guys run around in circles and maybe do some drills. And once in a while, you get to see a guy catch a football, and that's about it when it comes to the training camp feed. But it feels like you're there and part of it, and you get to see our guys out there and working out.
If I were to be nitpicky about the training camp feed, it would be that when they first started doing it back when I think the first day they did it was the year they drafted Russ in 12, and I remember being so fired up that they had that feed, and they showed a lot more. They showed a lot more on the field, and you got a little bit better feel of some of the things. So I think they figured out that, maybe don't put that kind of information out there just in case, I don't know, all 31 other teams are watching, which they
mostly Bill Belichick.
Mostly Bill Belichick, right? Yeah, even if you don't play him this year. So a little bit there, but ultimately a really cool thing. And then it's nice that they get some of the, big hitters up for pressers and things like that. And I thought there was some interesting stuff out of Quandre's presser and Geno's presser. And I'm sure you guys covered Pete's presser and that sort of thing. So a lot of interesting info out there.
Yeah. And today on Friday, we got Tyler and we got just a little bit of Jarran Reed, who maybe answered 1 or 2 questions, and what he was going to do as far as playing nose tackle. And we heard from him that he's just here to help the team.
Yeah. And the thing that you take out of that between what Pete said and what Jarran Reed said is that, nose tackle is where he's going to be at for the most part. That's what they're relying on him for. You could hear just how fired up Pete was to have Jarran Reed back and what he might bring there in the middle of the defense. And Jarran Reed being a true lineman, not so much wordy when he was up there, but just like, yep, they got me playing nose. They want to play 3, I'll play 3. They want to play edge, I'll play edge. Like, I can do it all, do it to the best of my ability, and that's why I'm here. So you're welcome. I'm back.
Does it make you feel any better with that in mind, knowing that the depth at nose isn't Brian Monet, who's hurt, and then a rookie that we don't know anything about?
Oh, for sure. That definitely gives you a little bit of peace of mind. And you're not looking for Aaron Donald at the nose tackle, every single time. I mean, if you can get him, great. But really what you want is a guy that really just eats up blocks, keeps everybody else clean, does his job, taking double teams, all that stuff. And Jarran Reed can absolutely still do that at this stage of his career.
At the same
time,
maybe
not as stout against the run as,
Puna
we'd like.
Thigh arms.
Yeah, exactly. Or a Taba Rubin, or name your nose tackle. So,
but a little more pass rush upside than those other guys,
for sure. And the thing is that he was good against the run early in his career. So if they're asking him to do that, it's not like it's foreign to him. So maybe it's more over the last couple of years in Green Bay, they were asking for more of a pass rush kind of situation than they were for being stout against the run. We'll see how it all pans out in Seattle, but he seemed fired up about the prospects of the defense, as does Quandre.
And I do have a theory with regard to Jarran Reed too. If you're a lineman and you want to get paid, you need to get sacks. And that's generally the way to make more money long-term. Now that he's toward, getting toward might be the ending of his career and just wants to play. And here's a role for him. Take that opportunity. Obviously, he must have liked it in Seattle well enough to return. And I could see it revitalizing, or at least a way for him to extend his career and do it in a place he likes.
Oh, for sure. And we've heard this from a lot of guys that have come back into the Seahawks fold, including Bobby, who he might be the talk of training camp. And if I'm a player and I'm going up there to do an interview, I don't know that I could come up with a new, unique answer to what it means for Bobby to be back and a part of the team. They ask every single dude. Every single dude says the same thing because it is what it is. And it's a big deal. At some point, guys, in the press pool, Bobby's back. Everybody's happy. He's a great leader.
You don't have to get everybody's reaction, right?
I guess he's a great leader. We're glad he's back. Everybody missed him. I don't know what else to say. Like that's kind of how everybody else is too.
My favorite response to it, though, was it either Quandre or Tyler who turned it around and talked about the fans' reaction to Bobby being out there. And I think it was actually Geno Smith that talked about just the fans' reaction and chanting his name. And so that was a fun way to turn it around and just have a different perspective of just making us know what it's like for the fans reacting to Bobby being there.
Big time. You heard Tyler Lockett, you talk about them turning questions around. He was asked a question about D. Eskridge.
Yeah.
Hey, how's D looking out there? He's supposed to be explosive and all that. Tyler just turns around and goes, how does he look to you out there?
Right.
He's scoring a touchdown every single time he touches the ball, making crazy catches, super explosive, blah, 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 blah. Brandon, I'm back. I'm back on the D. Eskridge bandwagon. I've had so much hope for this dude over the years and really believe in his game. If he could just stay on the field, that sort of news was super exciting.
Well, and it is fun too, because you don't just hear it from Tyler. You also heard it from Geno because the question and kind of the excitement that you hear from reporters, they all want to ask about JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba. And with a lot of these guys, they know that D. Eskridge, he needs to make it work this year to really have a shot. Yeah. And this is his opportunity. And from all accounts is that he's looking good in camp. And so you hear Geno take the turn with that as well, getting asked about Geno or getting asked about JSN, and then also bringing in D. Eskridge and giving his thoughts on Eskridge.
The JSN answer might have been my favorite answer from Geno in his presser.
Yeah.
Because they asked about him, and of course he's been the talk of camp and everything. He's a good player. We're excited to have him, a high draft pick, all that stuff. He's gotten a lot of hype. He gets all the hype everywhere on all the talking head shows, all that stuff. And Geno's response, I thought, was so spot on for a amazing leader of a football team and a quarterback. He's like, yeah, no, he's great, but got lots of other dudes too. Derek's putting in work. D's putting in work. And, he's just a part of that wide receiver room and he needs to fit in and all that stuff. Kind of like, all right, Rook, I see you. Everybody sees you've had enough love. Now you go back in the stable and catch balls when I throw them to you. And we'll talk about your greatness when you actually produce.
It's a good point to make, though, especially and we always got it before too. Just the rundown of all the other people on the team whenever a certain person is brought up. And Derek Young was one of those guys. It was nice to hear that he's been putting in his work, and Geno talking about his growth not coming from a pass-heavy offense and really showing a lot of involvement in the run game within special teams. And so we heard from Geno on that aspect of it too. I didn't necessarily think of it as him putting JSN kind of off to the side, but no,
it wasn't like he was trying to put him off to the side. It was more like,
There's other people to talk about too.
He's a part of the team, and he needs to be put over here with everybody else. That's awesome, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but DK's awesome and Tyler's awesome, and
he's our new first round pick, and we get excited about first round picks just like we get excited about Devon Witherspoon signing on Friday. And he's actually now at training camp. Okay, he missed the first couple days. When we heard from Pete Carroll on Wednesday, he wasn't super worried about all of it, talking about the work that he'd put in over the offseason. Made it sound like it was super close to happening as far as Devon Witherspoon getting in and starting training camp. And all we had to wait was a couple of days. And I don't think that anything that anybody got riled up for over the last couple of days, I think it's going to be okay.
And it sounds like Diggs was in his ear, like, okay, boy, like, I hear you. Like, take care of your business, young pup. Like, that's cool. But if there's ever a time to not be missing training camp, it's year one. And we need you. Let's go. And they were all on the same page, and nobody's upset about it. Yeah. Not that I would have thought it would. And also, too, there's not a lot to argue about. I mean, there's talking about some of the guarantees and things like that. And, I mean, good for him. I keep getting them checks. Happy for him and all that, but really happy for him to be back, because it sounds like the Hawks are really going to take a extremely hard look at him at the nickel position.
Right. And that was one of the things that we heard from Pete on Wednesday. So what that means going forward, we may just see him on the field 100% of the time, and then able to move around like a lot of these top corners that you see, traveling with guys. There's a lot of receivers that line up in the slot that it would be nice to be able to shut down.
Oh, without question. And maybe some of the thought process is Mike Jackson had an amazing OTA in a camp that they call borderline dominant. Mm-hmm. And he's looking at the coaches being like, not only did I get the opportunity last year and play pretty darn well, but I came back better. And so good luck taking me off the field. Like, I'm going to make it hard on you. And maybe the coaches look at that and they go, shoot, like, we could get him and Spoon on the field at the same time. And like you said, one of the biggest bugaboos we've had on defense in the passing game has been tight ends, slot receivers, things of that nature. And it would be cool to get an upgrade there, even though Kobe's doing his work, it sounds like. And watching, I don't know, did you watch the latest video, The Sound, with the Seahawks, where they were talking about the throwback unis and all that? They followed Kobe around a lot. And, I've been on Kobe since he's gotten here. And it's just reminds you that, they're young men, they're people, all of that stuff. And I am rooting for the young man as a human for sure. But I'm just not sure his fits in the slot. So, yeah. I mean, we'll see.
You know what? You went away from D. Eskridge and you've come back to him. Maybe this is your chance with Kobe to start.
Maybe.
Getting on his side a little bit too.
Yeah. I just wish he was named after a different player. As a Celtics fan, it's just hard to deal with.
It is hard. So that's where people who don't understand where some of your
stupid sports hate mixed in there too. Yeah, there's some stupid sports hate mixed in there too, because he's not Kobe Bryant, like number 8 that we all think of.
That played for the Lakers. No, he just has the same sounding name.
Yeah, that his brother gave him or he didn't, depending on who you ask in his family, apparently. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming out from Quandre about the DB room, and he was really talking up Trey Brown about the way that he has looked early on, coming back from his injuries. And one of the things that I had to kind of guard myself against listening to these pressers is because I'm ready to be fired up. I'm ready to get excited. I'm ready for this season. And I am really hopeful for all the guys that have had injury problems, in the hope that they can come back and actually fulfill the potential that they totally have. And Trey Brown totally fits into that category. And I'm not holding out hope that he's going to be a major contributor, but boy, if he can be, and he can be that dude again, oh man, heck yeah.
Yeah, it does remind you just how big of a part injuries are to training camp, though, when you hear about Joe Burrow going down and you hear about Jalen Ramsey going down for the Dolphins. And when you hear big names like that, you want to just wrap all of your guys in bubble wrap until the season starts. It's not really realistic, but it gives you that feeling. Like, I just want everybody to stay healthy, and I want week 1 to be here and everybody to be okay.
Absolutely. And you heard Pete kind of talking about the way they're going to take all the dudes that are on the PUP list, and whether that was Hall or I can't remember who was all on there. I think Fant was on there. A couple other dudes that you're like, wait, what? Really? When did they end up being injured to the point to where they can't be out there? And Enrique and all those guys. And you hear Pete talk about, it's like, oh no, they're like pretty much full throttle. It's just, we're bubble wrap. We're going to take it easy because they have the same sort of feelings as us fans in that regard. It seems to be anyway.
One other cool little nugget that we got courtesy of Greg Bell out on Twitter. We didn't get day 2 video feed, but we did get day 2 reporting from Greg Bell saying Evan Brown at center, day 1, Oluwatimi getting starting reps on day 2, back to Evan Brown on day 3, and then Saturday is the player's day off, so we'll see if that's going to be a rotating position, if they go back to Olu on day 4, or if Evan Brown secures the role.
I don't think they're going to know much about that till after about preseason game 2.
It seems like if that's the way they're approaching it, is back and forth rotation, we'll continue to see that.
Absolutely. Well, I want to hear about Anthony Bradford. Like, how's he doing? I haven't heard a peep about him yet. So that's somebody I'm curious to hearing about.
I am too. I want to see him taking some of those starting reps away from Phil Haynes.
Yes, please. That would be amazing. And not that Phil's a terrible player or anything. Just I think
you want the rookies to push the veterans.
Yes. Yeah, that's why they're there.
Right. Just like you want, I don't know, D. Eskridge to push for playing time.
100%.
Even though
I have a question for you, Brandon.
Yeah. What's that?
Have you had a favorite answer from any of these coaches or players to this point? Because I have 2 that are related.
Favorite answer.
Yeah.
I mean, I like hearing from Quandre about him. Okay, my favorite answer was from Geno Smith being talked about in terms of his rating on the top 100 list. He did say that he would not be satisfied until he's in the top 5 or top 10. So it was nice that his peers recognized him and that people said some nice things in terms of his inspiration. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that he's satisfied.
Oh, we could talk about that top 100 thing on the flagship show because there's some other egregious misses on there as well. But my favorite answer was when Pete was talking about Geno and they're like, hey, it looks like he's slimmed down. It's like, oh, yeah, he's slimmed down. Still got the booty, though. And I about fell out of my chair. So that was funny. And then they asked Geno about it in his presser. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not into the butt stuff. So.
I think we may have to clip that.
Oh, we have to clip that. That's got to be on there.
Yeah, he was talking about his diet. He realized that, or came to the realization anyway, that he's a pescatarian, which I guess means just because he's just been eating fish and has cut out chicken. That is? It is. Yeah.
Oh,
it just
okay.
means that's what he's been doing in terms of his diet. That's the meat that he's been enjoying. Much like that sailor at sea is he's solely on the fish diet.
In the town for it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the way to do it.
Absolutely.
Any other takeaways in terms of answers, or it was just that?
Oh,
that specific.
That cracked me up. There's little gems every now and then that pop out from these things. A lot of it's just, boilerplate stuff and gets a little boring, but those ones crack me up.
I could listen to Quandre talk all day.
Yeah, because he's dope.
He is.
Yeah.
And we heard from Tyler too. He talked about getting his real estate business as part of the teams. How it was an availability in terms of one of their other team sponsors not continuing their promotion, and so he stepped in and they went through all the rules and did it the right way. So I know there's been some concern about that. Of can he even do that with him being a player and promoting a business while he's still on the team? Guess they found a way. Well,
to quote Tyler, I mean, people might say no. I mean, you got to ask to find out if it's even possible. So, yeah, I'm glad they did that and they're supporting Tyler that way. That was pretty cool. Quandre just being high on all of the young talent. And then his answer about Jamal was interesting to me because he's like, yeah, it was just, take it easy. And then when you're back, and that'll be fine. You'll be ready to go. And if you're trying to read between the lines a little bit, what I got from that answer was, maybe don't be counting for week 1 or maybe even close. It's maybe a little further away because I feel like if he felt like Jamal was getting closer, he'd be like, oh, yeah, he's raring to go and can't wait to get him full throttle and that sort of thing.
You also get the sense, though, that he knows. Jamal Adams knows that he wants to get out there for one, but 2, others are wanting to see him out there.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Well, one other guy we did get to see out there that I can't close the show without recognizing, Kalispell native, Patrick O'Connell, linebacker for the Seahawks, got an interception at the end of practice on day 3, and got to see that Kalispell native make our Seahawks at him.
Hey, Cali kids are going to be stars. Sign that boy to a long-term extension. Do it now. You're not going to be mad, Schneider. Just do it.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.